Hello, PS. Good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. It's great to have you here this beautiful Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday evening. Great to have everyone here. How has your week been? It's been a couple, well, we were last year, 10 days ago, so it's great to be back again. How has it been? Have you been on our Instagram page? Have you been consuming all the content we've been putting together for you? Have you been on our YouTube page? We're putting in a lot of work and making sure to upload all the videos. Have you been engaging with our content and everything that we've been putting together? Hello. I am Dorako. So good to be here. We're excited to have you here as well. Oh, Jesus, baby, so great. Yeah. And we have our guests here already, just waiting for a couple more people to join before we go off immediately. But it's great to have everyone here. If this is your first time joining our live session, can you let me know in the comment section? Or if you're a regular, actually, this is our third Insta Live since we launched. So if you're a regular and this is your third time, do let me know as well, and let me, like they say on radio, ring a bell for you, right? So yeah, how has it been? How's your week been? How has the month of August been? Last time we were together was the 1st of August, actually. So a couple of days back. It's great to have everyone here. So this is that time for you to tell a friend that we are live. We're about to go on this interesting journey. I know some people are here because they're looking for gist that is not missing. I posted a picture on my personal page to actually as a conversation starter, but people are looking for something I don't understand. So, it's your first time here, Foluke. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. I can assure you that you're here for an amazing time. You're going to have an awesome time with us this evening. We keep it real here, very, very real. So it's great to have you here, Foluke. Ensure to follow us, subscribe to our YouTube channel because it is awesome and authentic and relatable content here. So who else is a regular here? Who else is a regular? Who is a first timer? Let me welcome you especially this evening before we kick off. Yeah, welcome. I'll be doing a bit of housekeeping before we begin, and before we begin, I'll be doing a bit of housekeeping, and we're going to get straight right into it. I'm really excited about the person I have speaking to us this evening. One of the things I said to him, do you know that you are the first male that is coming? That is coming on this live, and he laughed at me like, what does that mean? Yay, Dolly P, you are a regular. I know that. Thank you for being one of the faithfuls here with us. Yes, thank you. Jesus baby, great to have you. Oh, Miss Topkins, everybody that says it's their first time, please make sure to follow us. I know maybe some of you came here because of our guest PS, but it's great to have you. I promise you that I'll be a very warm host, and my hospitality is top notch, so make sure you subscribe and you're here with us. Yes, so maybe because of some of the first timers that we have, let me just do a brief intro of what House of Eve is all about. Welcome everyone. My name is Oluwatoyin Akiemi. I'm a certified family life counselor, specializing in dysfunctional family therapy. In simple terms, in layman's language, I help people to discover unresolved trauma or experiences they've had in their life, and basically help them to foster new relationships. That is what it is in simple terms. And we've been on a journey of really talking about what it means to own your journey, basically. So House of Eve Counselling is a platform in which I find expression in helping people to, own their journey and be better versions of themselves. Most importantly, the end result is to ensure that you're actually living an abundant life, according to John 10:10, which says I've come to give you life and life in abundance, right? And so for so many people that wonder, is this a women's thing? It's not a women's thing. Eve actually means life. Genesis 3:20 says and he called her he called her, and he called the woman Eve because she's the mother of all living. She's a life giver. So our goal here is to create a platform where you are able to live life wholly, wholesomely. Your life is wholesome, and that's the abundant life that we speak about. So that's why it's called House of Eve, House of all living, house where you find life and you find wholesome living to your life. And so this evening, I have PS with me, known as Seun Afolayan, who is also known as the Bliss Catalyst. I'll be bringing up shortly, but before then, I just want to give a quick recap of the sessions that we've had so far. Our first session was what does it mean to own your journey? Because that's our core message here at House of Eve. Own your journey. And we explained what it means in terms of your journey just being your life. Your life is a journey. Everything you're going through is a process, right? And so since it's all a process, how do you then adapt? How do you, since it's a journey, how do you ensure that regardless of your past experiences or whatever it is that you've gone through in life, you still make the best decisions out of life? And the end goal for me is, even if you've grown up in a dysfunctional environment or dysfunctional family, you do not need to create the same environment of dysfunction for the family that you're currently raising or you're still going to raise. And so we're delving into topics. Our main goal here is to create informative sessions whereby you're able to learn and pick up how you can own your journey and live your best life. And for anybody who thinks that they require counseling, right, we have a form in our bio where it's called Let's Get to Know You questionnaire, where you can fill out the details there and you have access to free counseling. Yes, so that's basically what we are all about. And this last session we had, which was about 12 days ago, was on accepting you, coming to a place of self-acceptance, coming to a place of self-love, coming to a place of self-value, self-worth, because that is the first place in which you are able to begin this journey begin this journey of accepting you for you and owning this journey here in life. So and today, one of the questions that a lot of people struggle with is, so I know that I'm working on myself, I know that it's a journey, but then does that mean that I need to finish working on myself before I can choose a life partner or get married or do any of those things? And of course the question is no, because owning your journey or working on yourself is a journey and not a destination. It's a continuous work in progress, right? It's continuous, it never ends. And so there's not a point that you say, or maybe PS will tell us there's a point, I don't know. That's why I'm not a relationship counselor. He is. And I think this is my cue to actually bring him in at this moment. So PS, if you just join, I'm trying to add you up. Could you please try to join so that I can add you? Okay. All right. Great, 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 great. Oh,
All
for people that are just
right.
getting to know me, I get excited easily. I am so happy to see you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oluwatoyin, this is
Side note,
wonderful.
PS is one of my amazing support system, and I'm not even saying this because he's here. He's being an amazing brother, friend. I trouble him. I'm sure you attest to that. But guess what? He enjoys it. He loves the trouble. He can't deny it. If not, he would have maybe casted me away or done something. But no. So I'm his sister. We are family. He enjoys the trouble. Imagine a quiet life, PS. What would that do to you if life was just all quiet? You need some trouble
I
and
mean,
some
nobody to disturb you. No
But
Oluwatoyin
it's
too.
so it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
honoring this invite. And like I
thank,
said, you're the
thank
first
you.
man that I'm interviewing, so that's really, it's an award, or like Olympics gold.
Wow.
So
I'll be waiting
yes.
for the medal. I've been waiting for the gold medal. Well done,
Don't
Toyin.
worry, it's going to be
It's
dispatched to you. It's going to be dispatched to you. So let me just do a
absolutely
quick introduction for everyone that is just joining. Seun Afolayan is, and popularly called PS, is a counselor, mentor, and he's been a speaker for over 20 years. He's a licensed relationship expert and family life coach and therapist. You see the people that I take after, so I'm not alone. And a popular social media content creator, widely known as the Bliss Catalyst. So let me give a joke here. There's a day I said, is known as the Bliss Catalyst, and he comes online and says that, that there's not like a happy marriage. You're like, what are you saying? What does that mean, right? But yeah,
contradiction, right?
yes, right. So a platform through which he offers insightful advice on strengthening marital bonds and enjoying fulfilling relationships. One of the things that I really love about PS is that he's very balanced. I know I've never said this to you, right? Because he also doubles as a pastor. Actually, he serves at the Elevation Church and is a resident pastor of one of the branch at Ibadan. And so, because he's a pastor, I know I've never said this to you, but this is me saying this now. Because he's a pastor, it's easy to want to have conversations with you, and you could have gone spiritual with it. But in all the conversations that I have with you, you're a very balanced person. And even sometimes the kind of feedback he gives me is like, Christian sister, better calm down. Like, as in, like, especially when it comes to relationship, like, that's why all you Christian brothers and sisters in church, you people need to be calming down and be real and stuff like that. So if you bring up like, I like this person, and the person is talking about sex, you say, so is it not a natural human thing? So I really, really love that about you, that you have a very balanced perspective. You don't over spiritualize things. There's where spirituality needs to come in. There's where we really need to be real and just relate as human beings. And I love that. And it doesn't mean that you're still not spiritual. So I really love that balance that you bring to the entire picture. So my people, this is Seun Afolayan. Please help me celebrate him in the comment section. Do you want to say a word before we kick
Thank
off?
you.
Anything you want to say?
Thank you, Tony. It feels like we are just about to relive some of the many conversations that you and I have had
I know,
with just two of
right?
us.
I know.
I mean, so this feels very natural. I'm looking forward to it, and you're doing an amazing job. I'm really excited to see what you're putting together. House of Eve. It's been wonderful, and I know that more great, wonderful things are still coming out of this. Well done,
Amen.
everyone. Get ready. We're going to have a wonderful conversation
Yes,
today. Looking
it's a
forward.
fun ride. Like
Yeah.
if my smile could go any wider, it would, because right now I think my cheeks are hurting from blushing so much. But yeah, thank you so much, PS. Thank you for the support that you've been as well. So let's
Mm.
get right to it. Let's get right to it, right? Hmm, choosing right while working on yourself. So let me give a bit of a background, and that's why House of Eve is so personal to me, because literally I don't want to say it's my life that I'm living out or I'm trying to use as a message to teach people. It's maybe that's what it is, but yeah, it's not because I'm an expert or I know everything, or I've gotten to a point that I now know everything about life. I've lived out life in the perfect way, and so it's time to teach people. No, aside the fact that it's an instruction and assignment from God to be carrying out, I've just realized that a lot of the things that I've gone through or I've experienced, right, are things that I see in so many people, and I realize that I wish I had this information early, or I'm glad that I know this information right now, but I want to help the next person. And so the real essence of House of Eve really is the fact that as much as I know, I remember one of the days I was praying, I said, God, even if it's just 50 individuals that you give to me, and those 50 individuals raise functional families, I am satisfied. So it's not about having it'd be great to have 50,000 followers, have 500 people join the live and all of that, but really it's way deeper than that, right? Even if it's because I know what it is. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. I know how, even till now, the things that I am walking through and coming to understand that, this is not what normal is. This is what normal is. This is not what normal is. I know, navigating through all of that. But I'm grateful for my experience. That's the thing. I have absolutely no regrets. And PS is here. It took time to get here. I never used to sound. I know days I'll say, you need to forgive. You need to pay attention to this. You need to do this. And there's some days I don't talk to them, like, I beg, please leave me alone. But where I am right now, I am grateful, and I'm grateful for my journey, because I would not be here doing this if I've not come to appreciate my own journey and accept it, to know that this is me. And regardless of whatever mess it is, there's a message in everybody's mess, right? I know it sounds like motivational speaking, but it's not. It's actually the truth. So now, being very vulnerable and being real. I was just speaking to my friend earlier on before we started, and I said, if I got married at 30, or if I got married at even 29, I'm not sure that I'll still be married till now, because
Mm, mm,
most likely I will have maybe been separated or probably going through a divorce. And
mm,
not because I'm a bad person, and not because I think whoever I would have ended up with is a bad person, but there's so much dynamics of I have a better sense of self-awareness right now compared to
mm,
going into a marriage 5 or 6 years ago, and all of that, and therefore I'm more aware. And so the
mm.
question, because PS, I'm going to be the one doing a lot of talking today. Me, I'm even here to listen. So let me just offload everything on you right now, and then I'm going to sit back and watch and be nodding, right? So that's the first place I'm coming from, realizing that if I got married at 25, even at 30, because some people might say 25 is young, and it's not. At 30, right now, I don't know if I'll still be married, or even if I was married, I'm not happily married because I'm just struggling because
Mm,
of the level of self-awareness I have right now as a person, understanding what it means to come from a broken home and navigating through that and different things I've dealt with, daddy issues, low
mm.
self-esteem, looking for love in the wrong places, always looking for somebody to affirm me and all of that. Based on those things, which were my filter,
Mm,
I would have chosen wrongly. And in choosing wrongly, right? I'm sure that as I'm now in the marriage, because we're not all the same. We're not static. There's growth. So I'm
mhm.
sure I'll continue to grow. And then I realized that no, this person doesn't treat me right, or this or that. And then that's where all the issues start from and everything. So the question is, in fact, the questions are number one. Number one
Don't
is
worry.
okay, no, maybe
I,
I should
I
take
got
easily.
I got my notes to capture them because
Okay, so the first question is, or and why I kind of maybe I want to tie it together so you can take it as a whole, is the first question is, so is there, now that we're talking about own your journey, be aware, know where you're coming from and everything, is there a certain point I need to get to first before I can now choose who I want to be married to? Because how do you
okay,
do you get the question? Right? Because me, I
I
know
do.
for sure that I cannot be in a marriage right now. If I got married some 6 years ago, I would
Mm.
not, right? We'll be signing up for Bliss Catalyst, come and help us. Right? So
Wow.
yeah. So how exactly people that from maybe have some sort of, and again, one of the myths that I like to say is that people, when you say dysfunctional family, they think it's people from broken homes. That's not true. There are people who have grown up in a two-parent home and it was a dysfunctional environment. It's even
Mhm.
worse than people who grew up in a single-parent home. And the fact that you grew up in a single-parent home does not mean that it's a dysfunctional family as well, because it could have been balanced. And so for whatever form of dysfunction anybody has grown in as a single, probably the person is even married right now, right? How could they have chosen right, or how can they choose right regardless of the fact that they are not balanced, their perspective of the world is not what it is because of their background?
Okay, well, the short answer to that first question, whether there's a certain point where you say, okay, I'm healed, now I can marry. The short answer to that question is there is no such cutout point. Maybe if there is, that point will be the point at which you have the kind of self-awareness that you're actually displaying for us now. Because the statement you made when you said if you got married at 25 or even 30, you probably not have the marriage together now. That is a massive statement to make, and that is a statement that speaks to a certain level of awareness that is very, very rare. Uh, I mean, some people are, there's a 23-year-old watching right now, probably that will watch later, who is crying that, oh, life has passed me by. Why am I not married? There's a 24-year-old who is wondering why, when will I get married, and all that. But you are here saying that I'm happy that I didn't get married at that time. That is massive self-awareness. So and that is the first step that everybody must cross to know that, to be aware enough of your struggle, to know that if this is where I am, this is the sickness that I'm carrying. I need to get to a certain level before I can talk. And when we talk about getting to a certain level, we are not talking about, because some people talk about money or age or things like that. Your level of, to just be aware of your level of emotional health or health, that already is massive. And then you begin the journey of healing. This, if there's a certain point, that point will be the point at which you know that you can live the rest of your life without marriage. Again, talk about contradiction. So I actually wrote a book which is titled How to Avoid the Biggest Mistake of Your Life. 10 unpopular rules for choosing the right life partner. And one of those rules is that you are ready for marriage. I'll paraphrase it. It's not exactly, but one of those rules is you are ready for marriage at the point when you can live the rest of your life without another spouse. You know yourself enough.
No. PS, you can't move. You have to hold on. Please say that again.
Yeah,
Say
yeah.
that
I'll
again.
say it again. I'll say it again.
Okay.
It's like I said, it's almost like a contradiction. You
Yeah.
are ready for marriage when you get to a certain level of emotional health that you know that you don't need a spouse to live the rest of your life fulfilled and happy.
Wow. Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
almost saying
A
that
big
you are ready.
contradiction, but I get
Very
what you're
big. I
saying.
understand. Exactly. You are ready to marry when you don't need a spouse. Anyone who feels, oh, the day I have someone who will love me, who will accept me, that day I'll be happy, that day my life is made, that person is not ready for marriage. Because it means that you are still going to be a liability in that equation. And you are yet to understand that happiness is an inside job. Nobody will give you happiness. It is two happy people that can come together to have a happy marriage. And the happiness of the marriage did not come from the fact that they are married. It's the fact that they were healthy and happy as singles. That's why I like to, the way I say it to people is that you must be happily single before you can be happily married. You must be happily single before you can be happily married. So when you attain a certain level of emotional health, that you know that marriage is one of the things that I'm going to do to enhance my capacity to deliver on my purpose. And you know that I can live the rest of my life. Jesus never married. Paul never married. And they lived absolutely great life. They are models for anybody around the world. I don't care who you are. So when you get to that level emotionally, and that you know that you can take care of yourself, you can self-regulate, you can live the rest of your life almost without needing to be in any marriage, then you are ready for marriage.
Whoa. PS has scattered the table already. In fact, at this point, I'm looking around because I need to grab my iPad. I can't just be listening and be doing moderator. I need to write it. So please give me a second. I'm so sorry. This doesn't seem right, but I truly need it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I mean, it's there in my book
Oh,
alongside a few other 10 unpopular rules. If you check my
wow.
page, blisscatalyst.stellar.co, the book is there in different formats. The video version is there. 10 unpopular rules for choosing the right life partner. How to avoid the biggest mistake of your life. It's an important thing that most people don't get to understand it until they get into marriage. And like you said, that is the reason why a lot of marriages don't last. You know, I counsel couples who are struggling a lot, and it's always painful because a lot of people go into marriage hoping that marriage will deliver to them what marriage was not designed to deliver. It's like you got into a restaurant hoping to barb your hair. That's not what they do there. So if you are looking for happiness in life, you are looking for how to live a fulfilled life. Marriage is not the way. Marriage is supposed to enhance your capacity to do it. If you do not have it in yourself, or you have not been healthy enough to do it by yourself, you are just going to be a liability to somebody, and that is why things scatter pretty much. I don't want
Oh,
to go too far,
wow.
so let me stop there.
I thought I was the one coming to offload. Apparently, it's the other way around. You're giving it back to me, back as in you're giving it to me hot, hot. I don't even know where to start from. Like, I'm like, oh my god. I'm sure that even like I think, to be honest, this is the highest engagement I've had in the comment section since we started. Right? Like, people are writing, they're
Wow.
saying a whole lot of stuff. Like, this is deep and wow. So first of all, let
Yeah.
me start with his handle is Seun.af, and there you can
Yeah.
also have access to a lot more of his resources. Before we are done, I'm going to you're going to please repeat the name, how to get access to the book that you spoke about, because that's so important. Yes. So first, in summary, what the first thing I've heard is, when you think that you need to be married, that's exactly where you don't need to be married, right? And for me, that
Yes.
answers a very vital question. So for anybody who is wondering, like, oh, whether you even feel like I'm not from any dysfunctional, I don't know this, I don't know what you guys are talking about, maybe I need to go through therapy to understand anything. Like, the summary that Pierce has given us and how he has simplified everything is basically, if you have that desire, you have that, I don't even know what's called, is it strong
So
desire?
let me balance it. All right. So
Okay.
marriage is a good thing, and
Mm-hmm.
there's you know
That,
there's nothing
that
wrong
would
in
have been
getting
my
to a
next
certain age.
question. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. There's I mean, of course, if you are 20 something and you're thinking about marriage, that of course is normal. Whether you're a lady or a guy, it's normal to have a normal desire to be married at some stage in
Yeah.
life. I'm talking about people who believe that it is when they get married that they will be happy. People who think that marriage is the next thing is the thing that is missing in their life, that is not making their life to be balanced. People who believe that, oh, if I just meet the right guy, everything will be sorted. Those are the people that we know that you are going to be a liability, and there's a big problem if you now have an overriding desire to get married because you believe marriage is going to do something to to just reset your life and make everything good. It's a fallacy, it's a mirage, and what you are looking for really, really does not exist, because happiness, like we said, is an inside job.
All right. I love that the questions are coming in already. Please throw your questions in. That's why we have in here. Let's keep it practical and even answer the questions that you have. But before we go into this first question that I already have here, I like that you addressed that. So being desiring to marry is healthy, it's okay. But when it goes beyond
Yeah,
of where you think it's in marriage and you to find happiness, that's where there's a problem. And for
exactly.
me, who instituted marriage? It is God. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing I think a lot of people continue to miss, which is trying to do marriage outside of the person who instituted it, right? And I'm not even trying to sound Christianese or anything, but it's exactly what it is. That's the manufacturer. And I guess this is where the equation of 1+1 comes in, making one. You are a whole person, you are one, and the other person is whole, and you can come together and have something that is beautiful. The next question, going on that, is asking that. So do you handle what? So you feel that you are, we say being whole and all of that. However, I'm sure that that does not mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
you're perfect, right?
not at
So
all.
there's still some work that needs to be done, because even for me, the level of self-awareness I've achieved between January to August is different from like I'm more self-aware in this year 2024 compared to 2023. Like it's a continuous growth and work in progress, like we all say. So I
Yeah.
know that you said that as long as you're not desperate, when you're not looking for looking for a partner before you think you can survive and everything, when that wholeness that we're speaking, what are some of the maybe some practical tips that someone can say themselves that, oh, based on this, truly maybe I've gotten to that point to seek a spouse or to desire a spouse? Does the question make sense? Do you get what I mean?
I mean, what you are, from my interpretation of what you've
Yeah.
said is that at what level of healing do you begin to say, okay, I'm ready to look for a spouse?
Yeah,
Is that
maybe
what you're
more of
asking?
like practical tips that someone, like maybe one or two,
Okay,
three things that someone can say,
okay,
based on
because
this,
I
I
have
know.
this and that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay. So self-awareness is a big one, which we've talked about, which is you being able to, uh, by yourself, you are aware of the areas where you are lacking.
Mm.
Just like you said, healing is a lifelong journey. None of us will get to that final end, right? And then none of us is also perfect. All of us are actually injured. I like to say to people, there is impossible. Everybody was born perfect, but it's impossible to live in this imperfect world for 2 decades, 3 decades, and the imperfections of this world would not have rubbed off on you one way or the other.
Mm.
And some of those things leave lasting marks. So all of us, one way or the other, we are injured. So when you come to the level where where you understand your injury, you understand where it's coming from, and you are on the journey of getting whole. Part of how you will also know some of the signals that will tell you that, okay, maybe I'm getting to that place, is when you know that you have a coping capacity that allows you to still live a life that is fulfilling, a life that is whole, in spite of the fact that you are not fully whole. For instance, the quality of your other relationships
Mm.
is a good indicator to how you are going to treat your spouse. What's happening to your relationship between you and your siblings, your relationship between you and your friends, your relationship in the office, your relationship with people who you don't like, quote and unquote. How are you able to handle the people that don't look like the people that you are forced to work with, the people you are forced to be in the same department with? So those are good indicators. If you are not seeing progress in your capacity to deal with other people's injuries, then you know that there's a struggle. But when you are seeing progress in the way you are dealing with difficult people, in the way you are dealing with people that are throwing different vibes to you, and you're attaining a certain level of openness to know that nobody needs to be perfect before I can be great friends with them. When you're experiencing that in your relationship, you know that you are making progress and you can keep things together in your relationship. What a lot of people don't know is this: they feel that because marriage is a different relationship, that when I get married, even if I treat the rest of the world as trash, one way or the other, because I love my spouse, I'm going to treat my spouse great.
Better. Yes.
That
Yes.
that's a myth.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
like to tell people, nobody treats people the way they no everybody profess love. Everybody says I love you. Everybody profess love, but not everybody has the capacity to love. What we
Mm,
want to do and what we are able to do are two different things. Your
mm,
capacity to love will be demonstrated no matter how much you profess love to that guy, or that person professes love to you. When the push comes to shove, when the effect of romance wanes, and it always does, everybody will be back to their normal capacity to treat people well. So if you don't treat people well right now, regardless of whether they are your gate man, regardless of whether they are office colleagues that you don't care about, you will inevitably treat your spouse the same way. So
mm.
what is happening in your other relationship is a good indicator to how well you're going to treat your
Oh,
spouse when you get into
yeah.
marriage.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. In fact, thinking about it, even before the romance, dwindles off, when you marry somebody, you don't just marry, the individual did not drop from heaven, right? He has a brother, he has a sister, he has a father and a mother. So when you say
Yeah.
my focus is only, I'm going to love my spouse and everything. So you're going to be nasty to what his siblings, nasty to her parents and all of that. Because those are clear indicators of whether you can live with other human beings. As much as you are a Ruth, or you are a me and my husband, me and my wife and everything, you people are going to live, at least even the building you live in, if you are not living in a block of flats, yeah, that way you are living, you live on the streets, right? There are
Yeah.
other human beings there. You're going to
Yeah.
walk into a supermarket. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? And but I
Exactly.
see how myopic people could think. Like, I think maybe I probably thought about that too a long time ago. How myopic we could think when it comes to, no, when it comes to my husband, I'm going to be different. When it comes to my wife, I'm going to be different. But it's actually
No,
not
yeah,
true.
it's not gonna
It's
happen.
actually not it's not true at all.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something that you mentioned, because I noticed that you keep using the word, so how do you know you've healed? And I'm wondering, like, oh, is PS kind of generalizing? But then I think you answered that question already, which is the fact that everybody is hurt one way or the other.
Yeah.
Everybody is hurt one way or the other.
Absolutely.
So if it's almost like a new level of awareness for me, which is the fact that it's not when we've been shouting dysfunctional family and all of that. Let's even forget dysfunctional family. The fact that you are born into this world,
It's a
people have hurt you.
dysfunctional world.
Do you understand? It's a dysfunctional
Absolutely.
world. Like, yes,
Absolutely.
it's a
Yeah.
dysfunctional world. So, regardless of even someone like you who is very self-aware, conscious, because of the kind of thing that you do, right? I can imagine that the way you're raising your children and even the way your family is, you are more intentional. As much as you're even protecting your children and creating a very functional environment for them to grow up in. Thinking about it now, they are going outside to function in a dysfunctional world. And so the
They're already
hurts that
going
might not,
outside. They go to school.
yeah, the hurts that might not exist, or the
Yeah.
dysfunction that might not exist in your
Yeah.
home, might exist
Family.
outside. In fact, I'm almost thinking that way. So it means that after all this work, somebody can go outside and still, these children can go outside and, they're still hurt, they're still whatever. Like,
Absolutely.
how do you even find the balance? And I guess that's where God comes in to just continue to help all of us. So that just made
Yeah.
me realize that, okay, I think you seem to be generalizing, and you're right about that, that we are born into a dysfunctional world. We exist in a
Yeah.
dysfunctional world. So
Nobody
it's
will
not until your
escape it.
parents, sorry?
I said nobody will escape it.
Exactly. So there's one hurt or
Yeah.
the other that you've experienced in one way. And for some people, it's a bit more extreme in terms of maybe now you suffered domestic,
Mm-hmm.
you watched domestic violence growing up, you were
Mm-hmm.
abused sexually as a child, whether male or female growing up. Some people, because some of the people that have been reaching out to us, when we ask that, what are the childhood traumas you think you've gone through, a lot of it has to do with rejection, being rejected by their parents. And yet these are people that grew up in two-parent home. Rejection, or the kind of words that were used on them, or of course these are
Yeah.
parents not knowing that this is the effect. So they say, oh, I'm inexpressive, even as an adult I cannot express
Mm.
myself as I and we're asking questions like, okay, so when did you think this started? Why are you
Yeah.
this way? I find that there is some childhood trauma and all of that. And so it's a dysfunctional world, even for the parents that mean the best and the ones that
Mm-hmm.
did not mean for things to go the way it went. It means that as long as you're an adult, and you're a responsible adult, right? In fact, what makes you a responsible adult is that you know that you're an adult. You are taking up the responsibility to check yourself to see, where am I hurt? Where do I need to heal? How do I function? Why do I react this way? Why do I get upset when people say things like this? What triggers me? Why is this way? And then you begin to, not even because you're looking for marriage right now, just because you want to be a better person for
Yeah,
yourself. Because as much
exactly.
as singles, we shout marriage, 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 and we think that that's like sometimes, and I'm sorry to say, I think that marriage has been idolized a lot in Africa. Like, I'm African, I'm not any other, I'm not from any other part of the world or something, right? I'm African. I think our marriage has been idolized a lot. There's a way that it has come an idol. It is a goal. As much as we say that, oh, it's not a means to, it is just a goal. Like, it is just a goal. I've seen.
Sorry for cutting
Okay,
you. You know what I was telling some singles a few weeks ago. I was telling them, I said, what I need to let you guys know is that all married people, we have connived and we have all agreed that we'll only show you guys, all of you that are single, half of what is up, half of what marriage is.
I
We
believe
will
so.
send when we are doing the kisses and we are doing the celebrations and we are doing the lovey-dovey, that's when we'll set ring light and show all of you, and all of you will be crying and say, "Hey, God, when, God, when, God, when,"
Imagine.
not knowing that if you see the other half, you will not believe it. And I was telling you, I said some of you would not believe that you are much happier than most married people. Your life right now as a
Imagine.
single person, you are in a much happier place than a whole lot of married people.
I
So when you are saying marry, 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 we need to remove the idol. We need to stop lying to people to let them feel like there's one golden pot that is waiting at the other end of marriage. Marriage is wonderful, quite all right, but
It's
it is
great.
not. It's not like the golden key that people make it to look like. It's not. There's a lot of work involved, especially if you are not whole or you are not happy or you've not found happiness in yourself. Yeah.
Yes, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And for some reason I idolize, like, I know, even as a lady, like, I know the difference between walking into a supermarket and there's somebody beside me walking to it, and because she's wearing a ring, they will address her as ma. And
Yeah.
me, they will address me normal. Petrol station attendants will talk to me anyhow because, like,
Yeah.
who are you, single girl driving car? Please, 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 please. They will say, I have your type at home. Like, just want to be so
Exactly.
insulting. But
Yeah.
then if it's somebody, you see a kid in the car, or when I have my nieces in the car with me, the kind of respect that I get from, I'm like,
Yeah.
look at this mess. This is
We,
a complete
we've been
mess.
conditioned to worship marriage.
Yeah, like, it's such a mess.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that we've established that. The next question is, and Crown to Gold has asked a question, which is, how do you strike the balance between when you have become happily single, which has made you independent, and when you need to show your feminine side when you now have a man in your life? I love this question. I really love the question.
Come again.
Okay, so let me
To
summarize what she's trying to say. We talk about being happily
okay.
single, and we've taken this message well as being happily single. I know being happily single also means that you're independent, you're doing stuff for yourself, you're happy, everything is going on fine. Now you have a man in your life. How do you balance this whole being happily single and allowing your feminine side to show?
Okay, yeah, no, so being happily single is not being independent. Being happily single does not mean that you hide your feminine side. And that's the thing. If as a single lady, for instance, if you are happily single, in fact, that is even when your feminine side will show more. Why? Because you have dealt with issues. You are free to be yourself. And being showing your feminine side does not mean flirting or anything like that. It's just you are comfortable in your own skin as a woman. So there should actually be no time where you hide your feminine side. That is a big part of who you are. There's a reason why God has created you as a woman, and that feminine side is part of your beauty, it's part of your glory. It doesn't have to do with being married or even being in a relationship. So we're not talking about keeping guard of yourself or trying to become a tomboy or anything like that. No, when someone is happily single, they find fulfillment in themselves. So when they walk around, they are glowing, they are smiling, they are happy, they are relaxed, they are not, looking behind their back, they are not trying to impress anyone. They have, that authenticity. I think that's the word. they have the authenticity that even from 5 kilometers, you can perceive it, that this person is living their real life. They're not trying to form for anybody. So if you are really happily single in the manner that I'm speaking about, being happily single, that is even when your feminine side will show the more. So it's not about being independent, and sometimes, like Crown to Gold was is indicating here. Some people get to a level where they've been single for so long they've forgotten how to be a lady. I think that may be what Crown to Gold is talking about. Maybe
Yes,
you
I
waited
wanted to
for a
chip
man.
in there. I
Yeah.
wanted to chip in there so that you can just, help to expatiate, because I think also where she's coming from, if I can relate, right, is the fact that I'm I'm happy. So I get the concept of being happily single, but the fact also is that if there's no scarcity, I'm just gonna keep by myself, right? I take the cylinder to the gas station to change
Oh,
myself.
all right,
I'm
I get
paying
the
my
point.
rent. I'm
Yeah,
doing all those things as a
yeah,
lady. I'm used to it. And maybe where the concept of being happily single comes from is that, oh, I'm like, if I wish if I had a man now, it's not because there's some people that might feel that way and everything else is a man that should do this for me. Like, no, be happy, like function. Can your life not exist if you don't have a man? Do you get where that's coming from? And so
yeah,
we have women who are functioning properly like that. But now the question is, how do you then balance and maintain that feminine, your feminine side, being a lady actually? Because that's one of the things I like to say. While I might be outside, I might be the boss and everything, I want to come back home and be my husband's wife. I want to be my
yeah,
husband's baby. If I don't want to lift a finger, like this, the last first custody that we had, I queued for there was one when I had to get for the experience. I said once I get married, like I'm going to tell you from the day we are signing the, like, in my lifetime I'm never buying for again, never ever. It is now your responsibility because I've suffered. I can never do it again. Like I actually said that to
oh,
myself. So yeah, so that's the balance of how do
yeah,
you allow the feminine side to come up, because you are used to being independent and being happy doing these things for yourself.
yeah.
So that's the question.
Uh,
Yeah.
I, I mean, so the truth is, if you uh I mean, there are extremes to these matters, right?
Okay.
Because just like you said, I mean, as a single lady, you have to deal with a whole lot by yourself. It does not mean that you totally lose your femininity. You can still function, you can still do all that you need to do, and you know when you need to switch. It's the same even with guys as well. Sometimes as a guy, you are almost thinking, why do I have to cook again? Why do I have to do this? I wish I had a lady. Single guys also, have that going
We
as
didn't
well.
know.
But
We
you know
didn't know.
what?
Thank you for letting
Oh,
us
they
know.
do. Trust me, they do. But guess what? They still have to pick themselves up and go to the market, go and price pepper and all of that. You are the one that you did not marry now. So you still have to do these things for yourself. So it is what it
Yeah.
is. So, but you can't afford to allow all of that to then reduce your femininity or to make you hide your femininity and all that. And the reality is that if as an independent lady, if you meet the right person, part of how you know that you have met the right person is that this person will take some of these issues away from you, so that even if you didn't plan to have to go back to your feminine side, if you had lost it,
Mhm.
automatically you will go back to it, because
Because you are
suddenly
being
you don't have to
treated
think about
well.
mechanic again. You don't have to think about this again. You have someone to onboarding to. You have someone to take care of you and make you feel good and all of that. It's a natural thing. You don't have to worry about going back to your feminine. If you make the right person, your feminine side will blossom and you find yourself going back to who you need to be as your husband's babe, as it were.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I like that. And I agree, because the truth is, we have, well, I don't know. So you tell us again for the men. But as women, I've come to realize that we are like flowers, we blossom. So if you meet a right person who just shouts your attention, like, no, leave that, you would actually respond to it. That's the truth. You will naturally respond to it and it won't be an issue. Now, to
Yeah.
bring us back to the question that we had, in terms of this self-awareness. So we said, oh, it's a dysfunctional world. Everybody needs to heal. You've gone through one level of hurt or dysfunction or the other. And, the onus is on you as a responsible adult to then heal and go through this journey and all of that. My question is, P.S., I've met a number of persons that
Mm,
are not self-aware. That is part of the reason why House of Eve Counselling exists, which is why,
mm,
the last Instagram live session we had was accepting you. And
mm,
again, even for me, at some point in my life, and it was unconsciously, I never sat down to paint a lie or say I'm going to lie to people or pretend to people or something. No, just by circumstance, where I was working, my friends lived on the island. My friends lived on the mainland. I started working on the island and all of that. And then I began to live with a family friend. And it was, for me, it was the perfect family. There was father, there was mother, and then their last daughter also lived home. Others had left home, some outside the country. And so people naturally just assumed that those were my parents and, was the perfect family. And I went on with it because I liked it. I loved it. And when it was Christmas and any of all those things, rather than go home, there's always one excuse or the other because I liked this idea, this pretense of this was the perfect family. I love this so much until I know that there's a point I got to that I'm like, this is not your real life. This is not real. As much as you pretend that there are no issues there or here and everything, start doing this thing. And so, I came to a point of even working on my relationship with my siblings, working on my relationship with my dad, working on my relationship with my mom and all of that, just trying to function properly, right? Before I got to that point, and there are still some people that they are still in that phase, right? How do you? I don't even know because I don't know how I got help. That's why you are here. How do you help people or even make people that are not self-aware be aware, even first of the fact that it's a dysfunctional world, so you have dysfunctional views, you see things in a very dysfunctional way, you have to heal before we not even talk about marriage because that's another layer in itself, right?
Absolutely.
What do you have to say to people like that?
Well, usually it's a very difficult one because it's at the root of everything that goes on. When you are not aware, you don't have that self-awareness to even know that you are dealing with this. But uh, so sometimes God just helps people by sending the right people their way that will point them in the right direction. Other times, pain, a lot of time is the teacher that drags a lot of us to that place of awareness to seek the help that
You
we need.
need.
Some of us are lucky enough to early in life to have the right people around us as
Yeah.
mentors. Someone like me, for instance, it was my time in university that I really became aware of a lot of things. How the upbringing that I had. I mean, I won't say I came from my parents are still together even though they're in their 80s. But trust me, there's no perfect family anywhere,
Yeah.
you know. But it was when I got into university that I became aware of the impact of, everybody has things that are missing in their curriculum. That's just it. I became aware of some of the things that are missing in my curriculum. But I was lucky enough to be around people of faith where there was a lot of mentoring, there was a lot of teaching, there was a lot of discipleship, and that has been the foundation of my own growth. Some people are not that lucky, so to speak, and
Yeah.
for some people, usually it is just pain. They can't hold a job together, they can't hold relationship together. They are suffering all kinds of heartbreak. They are giving people heartbreak. Things are breaking up around them, and
Yeah.
so usually that is what leads people to the place where they know that where I am, I really, really, really need help. So that's what happens generally. But when someone arrives at that stage where they say, I know I need help, 50% of the job is done, trust me. But getting to that stage, especially when we talk about self-awareness issue, is just prayer and trusting God to send the right people their way, quite frankly. Because trying to argue with someone who is dysfunctional, someone says, for instance, God, give me patience, but I need it now. That person is not self-aware. Yeah. And that's the kind of conversation you get when engaging people who are not self-aware. You will have anger issue, but yet you will argue to tomorrow. Me, anger. In fact, you will get angry with the fact that somebody say you have anger issue. Well, you clearly have it. The
Yeah.
evidences are there.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to sit down with someone who does not have self-awareness to talk them into their realization. In fact, a
Yeah.
lot of times they will fight you, they will block you, you will not achieve anything. It's just trusting God and
Yeah.
praying for them, and then
Yeah.
hopefully they will learn through other means other than pain.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. Thank you very much for that. And because I also realized that some of the things that, because I left uni saying to myself that I want to work, have a lot of money. I'm going to adopt a daughter. I'm going to have a very lovely nanny, and it's going to be 3 of us. And I'm going to live in a penthouse somewhere in
Oh,
VI.
wow.
And we're just going to ball. That was my, as at when I went into uni and I was leaving uni, that was my plan. I do want to get married, adopt a daughter, have a nanny, and it's just 3 of us, and give her the best life ever. And the truth is, funny thing, as much as it was just a fictional thoughts in my head, there are people that are actually living out that reality now, doing that, which is just another conversation in itself, because that's selfishness. It is selfishness
Mm-hmm.
in your no one. You refuse to heal and then deal with your pain. Now adopt a daughter or a son and make them grow up not balanced, because the idea is for everybody to grow up with a father and a mother figure, and then you start another cycle, another generation of dysfunction. It's actually very selfish. But again, it's pain that drives me to do these kind of things. And I got out of uni and I was just exposed to I changed church. I was exposed to people, and I'm like, this is how marriages look like. Like the family I spoke about, just even living in a house that there's father and mother, like it began to change my perspective. And I'm grateful to God that marriage is one of the things that I desire. In fact, don't worry, my husband is coming. At least just know that you're going to be the one buying fuel, because I mean business with this fuel matter. I am not buying fuel again.
See what
Right?
Lagos can cost. Oh my God.
I say I am not
Oh,
buying fuel
yeah.
again. Other things I can do, right? And so I totally agree with you that exposure to the right things helps. It really helped
Yeah.
me to change my perspective. Again, pain, like things, because there was a point which was something that we spoke about in the first session when we had Pastor Tony Adebayo, which is I used to feel like I was jinxed. I just felt like I was jinxed. So, because even my background has a bit of like, I have half siblings, there are half siblings, stepmoms, and everything. I know the typical Nollywood, African magic, there's somebody that is doing someone and all of that. Not that I saw that, because not that we even lived together, like maybe 4 wives, and no. When I lived with my 2 parents, it was just us, a family of 5 and everything. But because things were just not working, I would think that I would take, it felt like I would take 10 steps forward, 15 steps backward. So really, there's no progress. It just felt a whole lot was going on with me and all. And it got to a point that I actually sought therapy. And from there, thank God it was with a Christian therapist, right? That helped me go back to the different things that I had in my head, which was one of the things that was broken, is the fact that I am not jinxed. I am not jinxed at all. And you've actually even touched on that. So pain drove me to that point. You've touched on that you see things are breaking here and there, blah, 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 and everything. And you are repeating patterns. But again, we'll now come and spiritualize these things and say it's village people. It is the Alagbada. It is the Edo witches. It is this or that and all those kind of things, right? And I've come to realize that because even in my life, right, thank God we worship in the same church. The first time I heard PG say that some of you, the deliverance that you need is not the deliverance of flogging you with broom or sprinkling water on you like they do. It is the
Only
deliverance
water.
of your mind. That word has never left my mind.
No, that's
It is the
that's a
deliverance
great
of your
one. Yeah.
mind, and that deliverance
Yeah.
of your mind is the entrance of light, which is literally knowledge. So I realized that a
Yep.
lot of the things that made me feel jinxed, it was lack of knowledge. Even some of it, as such as even when you want to think of the spiritual part of it, is even me knowing my inheritance in Christ, knowing what the
Yeah.
blood stands for, knowing
Yeah.
that even if there was a sacrifice or something that was done by my forefathers or whatever, and because of that, the enemy
It's
has
only
a call to say,
fine.
oh, you can be called now. That when I stand in that court, it's not me. I'm just standing in the gallery. The person who stands in the witness box. I can't forget this because this was what my therapist said to me. The person who is actually is that the person who is actually standing in the witness box is Jesus. So it's Jesus that they
Yeah.
are having conversations with. It does not concern me as long as my life is in Jesus and what He did on the cross, the blood, what the blood is. Forget it. So even just coming to that realization in itself broke so
That's
many things.
deliverance.
Like it broke so many things for me to know that I might not be powerful. I might not be able to do all this. Like, in fact, the power I needed was just that knowledge, right? And so, the deliverance of the mind. So, please, as much as we are saying heal and everything, stop. Yes, there are some patterns, there are some things that are spiritual, but please, I promise you that at least 50% of it is deliverance of your mind. It is knowledge, which is even part of what we are doing this evening with this session, which is just exposing yourself to the truth, exposing yourself, being vulnerable with yourself. Because I know healing is hard. Healing is a journey and it is hard.
Yeah.
Healing is literally going to, because recently I had to go through therapy, right? And I one of the things that, for me was the fact that I was made to go to places that I had shut the door and I didn't want to go to. But you are
Mm,
never
mm.
going to completely heal if you don't put in the work. So it's better
Yeah.
that you face that pain, the pain of having to. So, what some of us do is that there's a deep cut, but then we take
Yeah.
what we call plaster or band aid and
Exactly.
then we just put it on it.
Yeah.
So at least it stops the bleeding. Or we pour iodine, right? Because
Yeah.
iodine makes it
Uh,
exactly, and then we move on.
Injury
But
that needs surgery.
that
We
needs
bandage it.
surgery. It's what's it called? It's decaying. That wound is decaying,
Yep.
and before you know
Yep.
it, for people like that, you met with diabetes patients before. Just one small
Mm.
cut that is not, you don't pay
Yeah.
attention to. Before you know it, because of a toe, the whole leg from
We
the
have
ankle
to
downwards is
amputate
amputated.
the leg.
That's
Yeah.
exactly. So imagine if they took time to deal with that wound, and that wound on the
Yeah.
toe healed. Look at that pain
Mm.
versus the pain of amputating one's leg. So healing is a journey. Nobody is saying that healing is easy. And I've been through my own healing journey. Healing is even a journey. There are some things now that I would think is the awareness of maybe being involved with a certain character or being exposed to a certain situation that I see
Mm.
how I am reacting in that thing that makes me realize, oh, you have work to do here. That's why, first of all, this thing is a journey. It's a process. There's nobody that gets over it. And so I encourage anyone that is on this live this evening, please put in the work when it comes to going through your healing journey. If you need to seek therapy, you need to seek counseling. We offer free counseling here. We have people like the Bliss Catalyst, who also offers different services. We spoke about the book earlier on, and that's the thing. Like we said, it is knowledge, deliverance of the mind. Maybe it's just that
Yeah.
book you're going to read, or the video, or even just following his page and just engaging with the post. You see the amount of growth, revelation, the amount of light that will flood your life, and you're a better person for yourself. Yeah, so moving on to the next thing, like please send in your questions, by the way. If you have any questions, if you think it's a bit personal, there's a section for you to add your questions, so you don't have to drop it as a comment and that will be read anonymously. So please drop your question. So now, Piers, there's another thing I used to find myself say again. I think is because of where I'm coming from. So growing up, or even as an adult, like maybe 20, of course, I wanted to get married at 25. I think there's no lady in Nigeria or Africa did not want to get married at 25. I don't know who
That's
sets
fine.
that age, but and that's why we hear things like mature single. This person is late. But even right now, I'm like, please, who defined mature single? What is the meaning of mature single? What if at 35 is when you are whole enough to be married, but because somewhere they said 23, 25 is when you marry, so even the man that is not married at 32 is late. Anyways, another conversation for another day, right? Moving on is, so I used to feel like the reason I wasn't married is because there are things that are wrong with me. But recently, and it's a joke that even my friends laugh at me, that like, you're really a joker. But honestly, I thought that for the longest time, and I know I'm not the
Mm.
only one. A lot of people think
Mhm.
that way too. So I meet some
Mhm.
people, God forgive me, even clients sometimes, their behavior, when you say bad behavior, bad character. But I'll not tell myself that, Oluwatoyin, you
Even me
marry.
that I
Oh.
think I'm bad.
It's not even that I think that I'm bad. Like, it's even the fact that what? You are like this and you got married
Oh,
and you are still
oh
married.
man.
Oluwatoyin, you marry. Like, forget it. If this one can
Ah,
marry, you marry.
you
But
will marry now.
one day I said it to someone and she laughed so hard. She actually thought I was joking, because I was having a serious conversation that this person did this and everything. Imagine, can you imagine? Like, I don't even know how she's married. For her to be married, then it means I have hope of marrying. And then she
Mm.
laughed so hard. And they were like, are you a joker? I'm like, no, I'm actually serious. And then I went back to think about it. But it made me see how I've thought to myself that, the reason you are not yet married is because there is something wrong with you and all of that. And then when I'm now
Mm.
meeting people that have bad character, or there's one thing or the other, I'm like, you have chance of mine and
You feel
everything.
hopeful.
So while that might sound like a joke, the bigger thing here is the fact that it spoke to something in me, which is, should I say, a low self-worth, or low self-value of myself, to think that I wasn't qualified, or there was something wrong with me that I could not attain marriage. And so the people
mm,
who were married are better than me. And that's what I would like for you to
mm,
address here, in terms of just speaking to, while we were talking about working on you is a work in progress.
mm,
It's a journey and all of that. But just to, boost somebody's self-esteem here this evening, that feels like it's because something is wrong with you. And this is not all saying don't put in the work. Put in the work, but still, you've got a chance out there.
mm. Okay, so something is wrong with me is a fundamental inner voice that a lot of people are struggling with.
Mm,
Which is part of why I said earlier on, we're all injured. Because as a child, the way a child interprets things is that if there are expectations, and what the child has known as the normal world, if it's taken out of that child's space, say for instance, divorce happens or someone died and all of that, the child automatically blames himself or herself.
mm,
The child thinks something must be wrong with me. And a lot of time, if that child does not have the right people around him or her that can reassure him or her, that thought follows that child forever. It's the same thing that happens when we are always when a child grows up in an environment where they are always corrected, they are always vilified, they are always punished. Someone is always talking to them about what they did not do right and all of that. That child automatically will believe that there's something wrong with them, and that
mm,
voice will keep being there until there's an intervention to deal with it.
mm,
So it's something that all of us are dealing with. We talk about imposter syndrome, for instance. That is part of what forms imposter syndrome, where
mm,
something is just telling you are not qualified. It's not the likes of you that
mm,
achieve this kind of thing. That's what happens.
mm,
And you will find that it's something. So one of the things that I need you to know, anybody who is struggling with that, one of the things that you need to know first and foremost is for you to know that almost everybody on this planet is actually dealing with that issue.
okay.
That's one fundamental truth. So if you disqualify yourself and everybody else disqualified themselves, then who is qualified? So fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with all of us. All of us are injured with different levels of severity of the injury, and healing is available. That's
Mm,
what is important, to know that you are whole, especially if you're a believer. Then, as a believer, your identity in Christ, that is the anchor of your self-esteem,
mm,
the anchor for your service. If anybody wants to have the right, and this thing happens to us at every stage of life. Quite frankly, it happens to us
mm,
every stage of life. Think about someone who is trying to, you're talking about getting to marry. Someone will get married. Maybe after a few years of not having children, they start thinking, what is wrong with me?
yes.
Someone is looking for a job and has finished school, and after a few months, they are not getting a job. Something must be wrong with me. Someone is on a job looking for promotion. Something must be wrong with me. It's a crazy inner voice that almost everyone on this planet is dealing with. As a believer, your identity in Christ. That's even recently it happened to me.
Mm,
And I remember I had to speak to some of my friends about it, where I was feeling guilty about my giving. And I
mm,
had to, and I remember it got to a point I actually spoke to God about it, and I asked the Holy Spirit, I said, Holy Spirit, I need you to judge my generosity. I want to know my report card. I don't want to go about thinking in my head, oh, am I missing the mark? And I prayed about it. And guess what the Holy Spirit told me? The Holy Spirit told me, forget about it. Your justification is in my blood. I've died.
mm,
I've died on the cross. I poured out my blood. You are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. That is more than enough.
mm,
Your justification will never be about your giving. So, and that is very, 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 very fundamental. And if you know how this thing plays out. When you think that there's something wrong with you, guess what will happen? You will be seeing what is wrong with everybody else. You That's what happens. Unconsciously, we treat other people the way we treat ourselves. So if you see
mm,
someone who is very critical, always cutting people down,
mm,
always loud about what somebody has not done right, guess what? That person is suffering from serious self-guilt.
mm,
That person believes something is wrong with them, and they need other people not to be better than them for them to feel okay. That's why they are quick to point out what is wrong with other people in order for them to sort of validate themselves. So we need to
mm,
always go back to our identity in Christ. that gives you a sense or a depth of confidence that nothing else can give you. And it is from that sense of confidence that you relate in love with other people, and you're able to have rich connection, rich relationship, and you find out that this life is really not as deep as sometimes we want to take it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Thank you so much. There's a lot of but it's so true. So true. Everything that you said. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've never actually heard it in that light before. That is everybody, because really we think everybody thinks it's just me that there's something wrong, but everybody is dealing with it,
exactly.
and we deal with it in different levels in life. I've not heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, I have always known that, yes, one thing I just know is that when it comes to waiting, you wait to get into school, then you graduate, then you're waiting to get
Mm-hmm.
a job, then you're waiting to get married,
Mm-hmm.
then you're waiting to have a baby, then you have a baby, then you're
Mm-hmm.
waiting for them to go through that certain phase of being a toddler to being adolescent, teenagers and adolescent. Then you're waiting for, I don't know, we are constantly waiting on something. And that's why you
It,
cannot, as a single right now, you cannot be frustrated that you are waiting. And
you, you, you know,
sorry?
sorry, Tony, I just
Please
wanted to
come.
add this thought.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add this thought. I mean, because lately my heart has been very strong about the issue of parenting. And
Mm.
one of the things that parents, not just parents, anyone who has children around them needs to be aware of is this. As a child, the fact of being a child is a fundamental reason that makes almost every child to think that there's something wrong with them.
You have to say
So
that again, please.
people need to understand it.
Yeah.
Every child out there, part of what makes a child a child is
Yeah.
the fact that by default, they think something is wrong with them.
Wow.
Why? Because physically, everybody is big and small. Everybody is talking
Okay.
okay. I'm not talking okay. Everybody can carry 2 buckets of water. I can only carry 1 cup.
One.
Everybody can run 50 kilometers per hour. I can only do 5 kilometers per
Mm.
hour. So many things that people can do that I cannot do. Ah, yeah, people don't understand that every child, the number one stress, the number one worry that every child
Mm.
has is how to behave the way their adults behave, how to behave right, quote and unquote.
Mm.
So when a child does not do something right and you are very loud about it, you are already confirming to that child what that child already
That
thinks,
there's something
which is the
wrong
fact
with them.
that
Yeah.
there's something wrong with me. That is the fundamental reason why a lot of people grew up with very warped sense of
Mm.
esteem, very warped sense of, because we are not aware of the inner voice that these children are struggling with. So it's
Yeah.
important for, I mean, I have children right now, and I'm very, very particular in that area,
Mm.
and I want people to be aware. Every child has, and the problem is that most of us, we are forgotten. Part of how the Holy Spirit helps me to deal with a lot of things in the family life space is that the Holy Spirit brings back memories of when I was a child, for instance.
Mm.
I know how it was a running thought in my mind that something was wrong with me, and that I needed almost like a miracle to behave the way my parents want me to behave the way everybody around me want me to behave, so that I can fit in. So when someone calls out negativity in a manner that is overbearing, you are already reinforcing a strong sense of lack of
Yeah.
self-esteem in that child, and it's
That's
important to be
right.
aware of.
Yeah.
Rather, we not to turn our voice around and overwhelm them with conversations that make them feel secured,
Mm.
conversations that make them feel confident, and all of that. It's very, very important. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you so much for adding that bit. And just to buttress that, one of the things I realized, and we've even had to include in the, like I mentioned earlier, for if you want to access free counseling with us, you have to fill the Let's Get to Know You form in our bio. And one of the questions that I had to include was, what is your love language? Because one of the things that we've come to discover is, as adults, the love language that people respond to is usually a deficiency in their childhood. So, yeah,
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
deficiency in their childhood. So what's even for
Absolutely.
me, when I think about it, I didn't feel there was gap in some places. So words of affirmation stands as my number one love language. Is always check whatever your love language is as an adult. Most times, 90%, actually your primary love language is a deficiency of something you lacked in your childhood, and that's why we're now looking for it, because that's the language that when it's spoken to us, we feel loved. And so even for you, the
Mm.
reason, as much as Kies has spoken to this, in terms of parenting, which is helpful for us, and he said something not just as parents, but people who have children amongst them, it's really helpful. It's also even for yourself as an adult. What is your primary love language? Why? Is it that is that particular language? Ask yourself that question so that you can begin to, you know, reorient yourself, be self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
work on yourself, find out what those challenges are. Like, to be honest, I'm in a really happy space with my life, in the sense that I feel like I'm grateful that I know these things, because I can't even just imagine, not even because of being married, but bringing children into this world. And me myself, I'm
Mm,
dysfunctional. Do you understand?
mm,
Like, so many things are missing. Like, I can't just imagine. So I'm grateful. And I also know that it's not everything I'll finish knowing. Like, I
yeah.
can't completely know everything, which is what we're talking about. Choosing right while still working on you. But it's the little things that I know right now. I'm so grateful for those things, that I'm not bringing children into the world and just raising another bunch of, you know, and it's unconsciously. And that's why, you know, that's the grace that I had to be able to forgive, you know, from my past and everything, some things that I think were right, because I realized that no parent, no person in their right senses brings a child into the world and just treats them anyhow. Hurting people
Mm-hmm.
hurt. People can't do
Absolutely.
better than what they know, right? So
Mm-hmm.
even for when I even, like, I had to take time back to check what was my dad's background, his
Mm,
parents. What was my mom's background, her parents, and it helped me to extend
mm,
grace. In fact, if I remember vividly, P.S. it was you that said some of these things to me, like maybe in different ways, right? Such that it made me take time to go and think and be able to come to a place of, you know, forgiving and loving, because there was a part of I wanted to forgive, but I didn't want to associate. But now I'm able to even associate and say, you know what, they didn't know better. And
mm-hmm.
I'll even create a worse situation of, no, I want to alienate myself, alienate. Because one thing I keep saying to myself is, when it finally happens, when, you know, in their old age, my parents go, I don't want to stand at their lying state and ever wish anything. Anything I want
Mm,
to wish right now, I want to put in the work.
yeah.
That's a motivation for me. I don't want to wish anything and stand when they are doing
Mm,
lying and say, oh, I wish we worked on our relationship. I wish I loved
mm,
him better. I wish
mm,
I was more kind towards
mm,
my mom. No. So I'm
mm,
letting go of
yeah.
whatever. And you know, the funny things that, you know, there's a part of what they've done that hurts you that you are dealing with as a child. There's what they are doing
Mm.
right now, and they are doing it as an African parent. I cannot
Mm,
apologize. This is how it's doing, and everything. But I'm learning to overlook all of it
yeah.
and say, I
Yeah.
do not want to have a wish or a
Yeah.
regret when I stand at that line. In fact, I don't even think of funeral. I just think of lying in states, right? When I stand at that point and I'm looking at that coffin. So some people it might sound a bit too, but that's for me, my check, my reality check, to build a
Mm,
wholesome relationship with especially my parents,
yeah.
right? Where especially when
Yeah.
I feel like, oh, things could have been better, because they don't know better. Am I at this point planning to get divorced? Of course not. So whatever reason made them divorce or separate, I don't even care whose fault it is. It's none of my business, right? I
Mm-hmm.
just want to live and have a good relationship. And I'm saying this because even sometimes with my siblings, they struggle. They wonder, why are you like this? Can't you remember? I remember. But I've just chosen to. I can't carry that burden with the other burdens I'm carrying. I'm caring for fuel, please.
Mm.
You wonder
Oh
what happened
my.
to me.
Lagos has dealt with this babe.
Like,
Well,
I cannot be thinking
well,
of all those
well,
many
you.
things, please.
Oh my.
So yeah,
And
so
you know,
thank you so much
this
for
is
that.
another
Yes,
another
thank you, thank you.
sign of health.
Yeah. So please, I have a
Yeah.
question here that someone has sent privately.
Mm.
Um okay, yes. It says, and it's a lady, so you can have some context. At what point or age can someone give up on the idea of marriage, as man is not coming, and then adopt a child and just live a single life because really you want kids and marriage isn't coming through?
Hmm. Hmm. My heart goes out to whoever sent
Yeah.
that question, and it's a question that a lot of ladies are asking. Because I mean, we're talking about healing and all of that. There are people who they are healthy, so to speak, and
Yes.
all of that, but yet
Yes.
the man is not coming, and that is becoming a big issue around the world. It's actually one of the things that I'm actually researching. What are the answers for this kind of question? What I can say for now is that I won't say, oh, at this age or at that age or whatever. What I'll say is live your life. If you get to a stage where you believe, you want to, you maybe adopt a child or something. To adopt a child is a good thing, at least for that child.
Yeah.
What I would like you to do, if you are considering that at any stage at all, is to have the right accountability around you, to have the right people around you, people who know you, people who can speak into your life, and who can help you to check, that decision. It's not something I can answer. There's no generic answer that I
Yes.
can give
Yeah.
you here on extra life. We have to look at you as a person, where you are
Yeah.
going, and what is informing this, and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a right or wrong thing, because
Yeah.
adopting a child is not a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
and if for whatever reason it's the right thing for you to do, you go ahead and do that. The man that will come. But I would say that there is no point where you say, okay, you can give up on a man. See, when you say, let me put it this way. When you say, I've reached a stage where I don't care, I'm giving up on a man, what you are telling us, if you are gotten to a state where you have stopped worrying about getting a husband. So what changes really is that you stop worrying. So I'll tell you today, stop worrying from today.
Oh, I'm just getting that. Like, so that means
You're
it's
just
a
getting
good
it.
place. So you're actually not worried.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when you say, I've waited and waited, what does waiting mean really? It means that, oh, I'm still worrying myself. I'm still wondering, is a man
Yeah.
coming and all that? But you are not really in charge of whether a man will come or a man will not come. There's no calendar anywhere that we can go and
Yeah.
check. So I will say it to you, whatever you want to do, when you stop waiting for a man to do, start doing it now. Stop that waiting, quote and unquote,
Yeah.
and live your life.
Yeah.
Focus on your vision, focus on your
Yeah.
future, focus on your purpose, and do whatever you need to do to live your wholesome life that God has given you. He that
Yeah.
will come.
Mm.
Don't close your heart, but live your life. That's my answer. Don't close your heart, but live your life. Because see,
Yeah.
I've also seen many testimonies. A
Mm.
man always looks far until the right man shows up.
Mm.
The husband matter always looks far. Pastor,
Yeah.
if you know this one that is looking at me there, I know that is among them. It's not going to propose. It always looks like that until the right person shows up. And sometimes, the Bible says we are like dream. When the Lord turns against the captivity of Zion, we are like dream. We are like them that dream. That is what it seems like. Sometimes I have some friends like that. I would tease and say, say it's you now that we cannot hear what the my husband. Just 6
Yes,
months
let me
ago,
tell
9
you
months ago, one
ahead.
year
I'm one
ago.
of them. I am one of them. I'm telling you ahead now that you're not going to rest. My husband said this. My
Don't
husband and I
worry.
are doing this. Just
Uh,
know now. I'm giving you the caveat.
I was talking to my husband the other day. Like, calm down, calm
I'm
down.
like,
You when
even
you
me,
were
I'm like,
saying
does your
this.
husband not have a name again? All of a sudden, he doesn't have a name. Your wife does not have a name. My wife,
Name
my wife, my
check.
wife. What happened? Uh-uh.
Yeah, it always looks like, oh, it's a far thing,
Yeah.
and I waited and knew it. One right person changes that story totally. And no amount of stress or worrying yourself will activate that. Live your life. Go on that journey of healing. I mean, look at you, Tony. You are getting perspective, you are getting more wisdom, you are getting more balance, you are here, you are presenting yourself to the world, you are being a blessing to people. Can I tell you something? That the fulfillment you get out of stepping out to deliver on your vision is more important, is greater than the happiness you will get from marriage.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's greater as big, quote and unquote, as marriage seems to look like.
Look.
The
Yeah.
fulfillment that you get,
Hmm.
the sense of happiness that you get from fulfilling and delivering on your passion and on your vision is greater than whatever it is that marriage will give you.
Wow.
So live your life, trust God, and he that will come will come.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that profound last thing. Just if I was just writing it down. In fact, let me also tell you that you are guilty. I say, P.S. I need to speak to your wife. Please send me your wife's number. And then the next thing, the number is babe. I'm like, why are you stressing me? So I have to go and be editing this thing and be saving the name properly. Why can't like? So you're one of those people as well
What
that
did
stress
you think?
every
What did
single
you think it
people.
would be? Yeah, Irioluwa. What were you expecting
Or
before?
Mrs. Afolayan, so that I can
It's
just
not
save it
only
like that. Or
it's
just
not only
write
Miss
Lola the
Afolayan.
Afolayan.
Don't worry, she's here listening to
I
you. She's
know her.
here
She's been commenting. Thank you
supporting
so
me.
much for being here and for your support. Thank you.
Yeah.
She's come to support her boo. Wow, you really,
Yes.
you said a lot, and I hope that the person who asked that question, that was very helpful to you, and all. I think even as we round up now, there's some essential things that I would like to say. Which number one is, I'm sure you've already seen that there's really not much you can do without having a life that is in Christ. It's so important. Like even for me, I'm like, how did I get here? How did I navigate my way into healing and other things? I don't know. For me, it was just God as the orchestrator of my life's journey, orchestrating my steps that I met with the right people and all of
Mm.
that. In fact, I remember my first memory of PS. I did not like him. I don't know. People that end up being very good friends with or have a good relationship with, the first instance, I never liked him. I think I've told you this before, right? That I did not
You
like
you
it.
told me now.
But you know the
You
funny
told
thing, I
me.
can't even remember the reason because I remember the day I told you what the reason was. But right now I can't even remember what the reason is. But it's
It's
been a
okay.
very wonderful relationship that I've had with him as a mentor, as a friend, as a counselor, as a pastor, as a brother, and all of that. In fact, I count it a privilege to say friend because I don't even think that we are friends. It's more of my bond and all of that. So it's what I'm trying to say here is all these relationships, all these people that add value to our lives, it comes from a place of being led. And when we say being led by the Spirit, it's not one spooky voice speaking to you. Just give your life to Christ and let him just order your steps. That's it. That's where it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
begins. I never prayed one
Yeah.
prayer or anything like that. It's just the fact that, I don't know anyone. And for me, like you said, pain. I got born again when my parents got separated because there was
Mm.
a way I felt. I felt
Mm.
exposed.
Mm.
I felt naked. I felt
Mm.
like the people that were meant to protect me, like they left me. So I just felt really like vulnerable and stuff like that.
Mm.
So, and I got to uni. It happened just before I got into uni, and then the first church service I attended in my university. And it's not because I heard, I can't remember what they said. It's not because there was one feeling. I just felt like I have to go somewhere where I can be protected, and that was it. And I also know that is how some people make some critical decisions and go the other way because it could have been somewhere else, another path I chose rather than choosing to go with Christ. And so, please, if you're on this call and you're not born again or you're not even taking your relationship with God serious, this is us just encouraging you to please take your relationship with God serious. It pays, and that's why we can come to a
Mm.
point to say that God can be trusted. It's a process.
Mm.
He can be trusted. So even this marriage, husband, everything, one of the things that happened to me in the month of June was realizing that there is so much. It was by Accelerate Conference. By the time we were done, I realized there was so much. Like there's so much to do. There's so
Yeah.
much purpose. Like it felt like I really understood Matthew 6:33. Like seek ye first the kingdom of God. Like it meant a lot to me because I realized that there was so much to do when it comes to purpose, impacting people, being a blessing, and all of that. And I'm like, and now to sit down and be thinking about husband. Please. Like I didn't realize that I didn't have time. I don't have the time to be doing 2 years of talking stage. I mean, 2 years of we are dating. Like I don't have time for that. There's so much to do. Like even with my career, with so many things to do. Like so I could relate when you said that thing that the fulfillment that you're getting now, even though I've never been married, I am not married, and I don't know you single people, you married people that have connived to make marriage look so great and everything. We think it's the most satisfying thing ever, especially because you can have legal sex as well and not feel guilty.
Yeah.
All those things
Right.
combined, and you can do vacation and you don't have to be hiding the pictures and all of that. All those things combined, they look really great, right? But then I know that right now I feel satisfied. I feel whole because of part of this that I'm doing. My job, the job that I do, gives me a sense of fulfillment. I love it, and to the glory of God, I'm doing this. It makes me really feel great. So please step into a place of a personal relationship with God. And one of the things I
Mm.
decided to do with myself is rather there's this concept, there's that concept, there's that concept. We're going to everything. There's this church and everything. I'm like the one that they are doing in my church. If it's morning prayer, I'm going to be faithful. If it's small group, I'm going to be faithful. If it's my unit as an usher, I'm going to be faithful. Let's even
Mm.
start from there instead of jumping up and down like there's this
Mm-hmm.
program. And I'm not saying that it's no good, but like let me even, there's God here too. Let me maximize, let me max out on this. And I've been having a really great time with that. And so that's really what
Mm.
I, have to say to anybody that is here that you're just trying to navigate. It's not because we have it all figured out. At least that I am not married. Because sometimes there was a point I used to feel like, us people that are talking because they are married. that's why you can come out and be giving advice. And then because we feel like there's one joy that you people experience in marriage that is different from what we realize because people are married. And I used to, in fact, the one that I hated the most is someone married next to their post. I'm like, motivational speaker, because they don't have wife, they don't have husband. And really thinking about it, that all those things have come from a very shallow mindset and everything. So yeah, marriage is good, it's fantastic, but continue to put in the work in yourself, and the Holy Spirit will help you to heal. The Holy Spirit will help you along the way, and you will also bring the right person. In fact, I feel now that the person that God is bringing my way is going to be so fantastic because I'm this wonderful package. He's putting so much work. He spent his time to continue to make me, like when I think about myself as the clay and he's the potter, he's fine-tuning everything. He cannot give me an irresponsible son. He cannot give me someone that is just thinking of like what I want to do in my life. It's not possible. So it's like the more price that is, or that the more value he places on me, the more value I see, and even with the work that I'm putting on myself and everything, I know that it's a bigger prize possession, and all of that. So it all works out at the end. It really all works out at the end. It's really been a beautiful evening. Thank you for everyone that has joined. I don't know, PS, if you have any last words, please. I also like you for you to mention your page and the book that you spoke about, because I'm going to go and look for it as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for everyone that joined. I saw quite a number of persons who have joined because, of course, it's PSI is here and all, and I just want to say thank you, of course, to Mrs. Afolayan as well, who has been in the comment section and just giving life in the comment section. Thank you for coming here to support us. It's not your husband came support, he came support us. Yeah, thank you for that as well. Yeah, so PS over to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Bliss
All
Catalyst.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, my
Okay.
darling, for being here to support us. Like Koyi said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So
What's the
I've
name of
dropped
the book
the link
again?
to
Please,
my,
can you say that? The name of the book.
yes, how to avoid the biggest mistake of your life. I just dropped the link to the book on the comment section.
Okay.
People can go there, blisscatalyst.seller.co. There are different
Okay.
versions. The video version is there, the downloadable PDF is there. It's a 30-minute video altogether.
Oh, great.
The PDF version is also just 40 pages, very, very
Okay.
punchy and straight to the point. But it's a book that can deliver you from a lifetime of pain. I wrote that book because of my experience counseling couples who are struggling in their marriage. And it became clear to me that some of them had no business marrying the person that they married. They had no business marrying that person. Why? Because there are people who are just not marriageable. And you just have to learn what you need to do to avoid such people. And that's what that book is about. Like I said, 10 unpopular rules for choosing the right partner. The rules are quite unpopular. One of them, for instance, is that don't marry for love. Don't,
PS has come
don't
again. You want
marry
us
for
to do a
love.
part two? Don't marry for love. All these things I've been
Yes.
seeing on Instagram, people wear red. PS, do you remember what you did at last year Valentine? Do you remember what you and
What
your
did
wife
I
showed
do?
me?
What did you do?
So you wear red, you do all those things, petals on the
I
bed,
can't
and
even
you're telling us to
remember right
marry for
now.
love. Single people, come and see Bliss Catalyst. Oh, I don't understand.
Yes,
Wow.
that's why I said it. Don't marry because you are in love. Marry because you understand yourself, you understand the person, and you can see the capacity that the person has to hold marriage together. Love, what we call love, is just romance. And romance is just the interaction, romance is just chemistry. Romance is about the container interacting with the other container, and there are sparks going on. Romance is a chemical reaction that has an expiry date. This is been scientifically proven that for most people, that feeling will last between 6 months and 3 years. So if you make a lasting decision while you are still under the influence of alcohol, you may come back to regret it. Because that's what happens. Someone, oh, I've met this babe since I met her. I can't sleep. I'm sure she's my wife. Oh, this guy is just a bomb. We just hit it off. Everything was perfect. Nothing like that is real. Because if you met someone that looked perfect, that is your cue to know that you haven't known the person enough. By the time you know them enough, you will find reasons why you probably don't want to marry them. And until you get to that stage, until romance wanes, you can't see clearly. So when you marry for love, quote and unquote, you are making a permanent decision while you are still blindfolded. So that's just one out of 10 different
Please go and get
reasons
that
that,
book. Go and
yes.
get that book. In fact,
People,
I think I'm going to buy
yeah.
some copy. I'm going to. I guess there's a way. I know it's an ebook, but there's a
Yeah,
way
you
you
can
can
download
give
it.
it out,
There's a
right?
downloadable copy. You can get multiple copies. Yes.
Oh, I'll get multiple copies and I will give that out because wow, this sounds really great. And it reminds me of something I heard someone say one time, that love is a decision. So this thing you just said about when you get to know someone better and you see the reasons why you don't love them and you decide to go get married and marry them, that's when you're truly making a decision. So I'm seeing how you are,
Exactly.
but I'm deciding that regardless of how I see you get angry, but because I know that
Yeah.
you have control of it, I am going to marry you. I am going to still
Yes.
I'm making
You
a
have seen
decision
the
to
good, the
love
bad,
you.
and the ugly. Yeah.
Yes, it's not that
And
I'm
you
falling in love and
have
then
mixed
my
everything
senses are not
together to
working
make a
again.
decision.
Yes, it's a
Exactly.
decision.
Yeah.
Love is a decision.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been a beautiful evening. Like I'm still smiling like I was smiling at the beginning. I'm really, really grateful. Thank you for being here, the Bliss Catalyst. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. It's been a beautiful evening. Our next
Thank you
Instagram
for
live,
having me.
yes, will be us someone sharing a real life story with us of just we're just going to talk with people sharing with us their life, their own journey, coming from a dysfunctional background and to where they are right now, and have they made some decisions, and kind of just talking to someone to share their life journey with us. So that'll be our next segment, and it will be coming up soon. So if you're not following this page, please follow us on House of Eve Counselling. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. So we typically don't post the full video on Instagram. We want you to go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and watch the full video. So all the sessions we've had is going to be up before the end of the week. Please go ahead and follow the follow us on Instagram, follow us on social media, and spread the word. Spread the word. Also follow the Bliss Catalyst at Seun.af on Instagram, where you have more insightful things to listen to even just build yourself up, whether as a single, in a relationship, divorced, widowed, whatever category you find yourself. You can be sure that you Bliss Catalyst to be a blessing to you. Thank you, everyone. It's been a beautiful evening, and I don't want to go, but we do have to go. So thank you once again, PS. Thank you for your time. God bless
Thank you,
you. See
Toyin.
you again.
God bless you.
Yes. All right. See you again.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Yeah.